Brahmanath. Om. Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Swastha.
Good morning, students. Today, let's discuss the third unit or the concluding part of the Inchcape rock. Before I begin, let's just quickly memorize what did we learn in Unit 2. In Unit 2, the poet Robert Southey, he gave us a picture of the cheering power of spring. How the sun was blushing, glittering, shining brightly. The seabirds, they were making various sounds, loud cry, and they were just going round and round as there was joy in their sound. Sir Ralph the Rover, the sea pirate, was on the floor of his ship on the deck, and he was also enjoying the beauty of spring, and he was whistling and he was singing. His heart was filled with joy, and the joy had no limit. But the joy was filled with some kind of wickedness, a wrong deed. He asked his men, Rover, he asked his men to pull down the boats and asked them to row him closer to the Inchcape rock, because he wanted to cut the Inchcape bell that was tied to the Inchcape rock. As he was a sea pirate, he plundered, he looted the riches, the wealth in the ships that met with wrecks. And so people normally used to, the mariners, the sailors during the high tides, when they used to safeguard their property and their life from the Inchcape rock, the dangerous rock, as the bell used to act as a warning bell, a warning sound for them, they used to bless the aboard. And so Sir Ralph the Rover wanted to plague or cause pain to the aboard. So he went closer, he cut the bell. Now let's get to Unit 3. You know, we all know that sin always recalls a sinner. And so here, let's check out how Sir Ralph the Rover, he had to pay for the sin that he committed. So Sir Ralph the Rover sailed away. He scoured the sea for many a day, and now grown rich with plundered store, he steers his course for Scotland's shore. Plundered means looted or taken by force, and steer means direct. So now, as the Inchcape bell was cut from the Inchcape rock, it was obvious that during high tides, many ships had met the wreck, they had met the accident. And as Sir Ralph the Rover was a sea pirate, he looted the riches, the wealth from the ships, and he had grown very rich. Now, after growing rich and sailing in the sea for many a days, looting ships that met with wrecks, now he directed, or he wanted to take the course of Scotland. So he moved towards the Scotland shore. So thick a haze overspreads the sky. They cannot see the sun on high. The wind hath blown gale all day. At evening it hath died away. So here, so thick here refers to dense. Okay? So there was dense fog. Haze means fog. So there was thick fog that was spread all over the sky. The sky was filled with thick fog. So thick that they cannot see the sun on high. Even the sun was shining brightly, but still they couldn't get the sun rays, or the light of the sun couldn't reach them because the fog or the haze was so dense, so thick that it had completely covered the sky. The wind had blown gale all day. The wind had blown, and gale means very strong wind. Very strong wind was blowing the whole day with the thick fog. Okay, at evening it had died away. Here, had died away means stopped. In the morning, basically they had very strong winds blowing. Gale means strong winds. The whole day strong winds were blowing, and the sky was completely covered with dense and thick fog. But in the evening, what happened? In the evening, this died away. Died away means the strong winds that stopped. On the deck, the rover takes his stand. So the rover here, Sir Ralph the rover, he takes his stand on the deck, on the floor of the ship. He goes and stands on the floor of his ship. So dark it is, they see no land. It's so dark, evening, it's foggy. Although the strong winds have paused, have stopped, but still, they are not able to see anything because of the thick, dense fog. Even the sun rays couldn't enter, or they couldn't get the light of the sun. Also, they couldn't see anything. They could see no land, or he couldn't see any land. Quoth Sir Ralph, "It will be lighter soon, for there is the dawn of the rising moon." Quote, I told you in Unit 2, quote means said. So what did Sir Ralph say? Sir Ralph said to his men, to the sailors who were with him in the ship. It's basically these two lines are said by Sir Ralph to encourage, okay, his sailors. Now don't worry, don't get panic, Very soon the moon is going to be visible. The moon is going to be there in the sky and is going to reflect light, and we will be able to see. So it will be lighter soon, for there is the dawn of the rising moon. Don't worry, Sir Ralph is saying to the sailors. He's trying to encourage his sailors, saying that very soon the moon is going to shine now. As it's evening, now it's gradually advancing to night. We will have the moon shining in the sky. And when the moon will shine, we will be able to take the light and we will be able to see. Clear? Cats here. Cats means can. Cats means can. Cats here. Said one. The beakers roar. Okay? For methinks we should be near the shore. Cats here means can hear. One of the sailors, they say that I can hear. What can that person or the sailor hear? That the beakers roar. Beakers is actually a cup which is on the top of a tunnel or a funnel type thing that is there on a ship. When the ship approaches a land area, the sound of the ship, the cup of that funnel or tunnel that lifts up and the ship roars. Roars here means sound of the ship. The sound of the ship is referred as roar. So the sound of the ship here, when the cap, it opens, the lid opens and the ship makes a sound. That it's a sound which refers that the ship is approaching land area, or land area is very close or nearby. Clear? So cats here. Said one, the beakers roar. One of them could hear the beakers roar, the sound of the ship. Okay? For methinks means I think. Methinks means I think. So for I think we should be near the shore. So he assumes that they are getting closer to the shore because the ship makes a roaring sound. The beakers roar, or the cup of the ship or the lid of the ship tied to that funnel, it opens when a ship approaches a land area. And so now they think that they are getting close to a land area or shore, near the shore. Now where we are, I cannot tell, but I think I could hear the Inchcape bell. See now, what's the pity? Now in this high tide, in this thick fog and in this high winds or the stormy winds blowing, now Ralph feels that at least I could hear the Inchcape bell. At least we could make out where the Inchcape rock or the dangerous rock is, in which direction we are. At least the bell of the Inchcape bell, the sound, the warning sound of the bell, at least we could hear. Next, they hear no sound. The swell is strong. Swell means the rise. Okay, they hear no sound. They're not able to hear any sound because the swell, the rise of the tide is so strong and high. Though the wind had fallen, they drift along. Drift means being driven. So here, though the wind had fallen, although the wind, the strong blowing, the gale, very strong wind, had somewhat paused, but still they were being drifted, they were being pulled along, till the vessel strikes with a shivering shock. Here strikes refers to hit. Okay, the vessel, the side part and the bottom part of the ship that goes and hits. So what happens, as now there's the thick fog and they are not able to see anything, and they feel that at least the Inchcape bell would be there. Sir Ralph feels that at least the bell would be there, which would give a warning sound so that they would be able to make out the dangerous rock and the direction in which they were moving or going forward to. And so they couldn't hear any sound. Although the wind the strong wind had paused, had fallen, had stopped, but still no sound they could hear. And in that, what happened? All of a sudden, the vessel, okay, the side parts of the ship, the bottom of the ship, it went and hit. Strikes means hit with a shivering shock. Shivering means trembling, quivering. These are all synonyms. Shivering, trembling, quivering. So the ship hit the rock and with a shivering or a trembling shock. Oh, Christ, it is the Inchcape rock. Like we say, oh my God, remembering Jesus. Oh, Jesus. Oh, Christ. And he says that, oh God, oh Christ, it is the Inchcape rock that the ship has now hit. The vessel of the ship has now hit the Inchcape rock. Sir Ralph the rover tore his hair. Tore, the past tense of tear. Here tore doesn't mean tear. Here it means pulling off his hair. So when sometimes we do some blunders in life which really we become very panic about, and we are very angry on our own self. Sometimes some people, they have a habit of pulling their own hair and giving pain to themselves because they are angry and frustrated on themselves. So now Sir Ralph also happened to do the same thing. Sir Ralph the rover tore his hair. He pulled his hair. He cursed himself in his despair. Despair means misery. In that undone situation where the ship had now hit the Inchcape rock, Sir Ralph knew there was no chance of surviving now, and death was sure and final for him and for all the sailors who were there in the ship. So now he started cursing himself of doing or committing the sin of cutting the Inchcape bell from the Inchcape rock. Now he had to pay his life for the sin that he had committed. And so now he did pull his hair and he started cursing himself in that misery. The waves rush in on every side. The ship is sinking beneath the tide. Obviously, when the ship hit the Inchcape rock, there would be holes and damage in the ship. The ship met with wreck, and now water started entering into the ship, and the ship started sinking, drowning beneath the tide, beneath the high tide. But even in his dying fear, one dreadful sound could the rover hear. Dreadful means fearful. So now when the ship was sinking, and it was sure that he and his sailors would die, there was no chance to escape. And so when he was dying, still he was having some kind of fear, which was fearful, dreadful. What was that fear? Because he was able to hear the sound. What was that sound? Even when now he was dying, he was able to hear a sound, and that was really fearful or dreadful. Let's see what was that sound. A sound as if the Inchcape bell, he could hear the sound of the Inchcape bell, because he was the one who had committed that sin, the crime, that notorious act of cutting the Inchcape bell from the Inchcape rock, which did give a warning sound to the sailors, to the mariners during the high tides, and saved life and property. And Sir Ralph the Rover was the one who wanted to cause pain to the abbot, to whom the sailors, mariners blessed, and he couldn't tolerate that. And so he had committed the sin, the notorious act of cutting it, and he had to pay for doing so. Now as he was dying, he could hear a sound. And what was that sound? The sound was that of the Inchcape bell. The devil below was ringing his knell. Here this line, the devil below was ringing his knell. The line signifies the death of Sir Ralph the Rover. This line signifies the death of Rover. It's the time when he is feeling, he is able to hear the warning sound of the Inchcape bell. He means who? Rover. Sir Ralph the Rover is able to hear beneath the water, down the water. He is able to hear the warning sound of the Inchcape bell. So with this, we have completed Unit 3, or we have completed the poem, The Inchcape Bell. So let's discuss two questions, okay? The first question could be, how did Ralph the Rover or Sir Ralph the Rover become rich? Sir Ralph the Rover or the Rover became rich by plundering the ships in the sea which met with wreck, okay? The second question could be, why did Sir Ralph curse himself? Why did Sir Ralph curse himself? Sir Ralph cursed himself for the notorious act that he had committed by cutting the Inchcape bell to tarnish the abbot. But he paid for his crime, as he had to give his or pay his life. Clear? Or you can also put it like this, that he realized that his notorious act of cutting the Inchcape bell to tarnish the abbot paved way, paved way to sinking of his own ship in the roaring water of the sea. Clear? So with this, we have completed the poem, The Inchcape Rock. Thank you.